Hello and welcome back to Lisa Loves, and today I am bracking, not having done a tag for absolutely ages, to do a Game of Thrones tag in, in celebration that one of my favourite TV programmes is back. I know so many people are sick of hearing about Game of Thrones, but those of us that love it, what can we say? So last year I actually did a Game of Thrones tag that a friend of mine created called Pixie Dust. She has a channel. I shall pop a link to that tag below in the description should you want to see it. Maybe even you could take the questions from that and this and do a mammoth Game of Thrones tag. Who knows? I'm not going to repeat the ones I did on the last tag. This one was actually created by Martin from the Trashed Picture Show, a fellow Irish person. I won't try and do his accent because as a Northern Irish person, my Southern Irish accent is a disgrace. It's not good. So let's just get on with this. I've got the questions on my trusty phone. 5 questions in this tag, and I shall pop Martin's link video in the description. I shall pop the questions in the description. So this is an open tag for anyone that enjoys Game of Thrones. The only person I'm going to tag here is my husband. He's got a channel called the Gong Farmer. He doesn't really make many videos, very occasionally, but he's a massive Game of Thrones fan too. I was going to do this with him, but we just can't seem to get the time to sit down together and do a video. So here we go. Number 1 minute 36 seconds of me talking about nothing. There we go. This is why my videos are so long. Number 1, who is your favourite character? That is just easy. That's probably most people's favourite characters. Can I give you a clue? Can you read that? Tyrion Lannister is my favourite character by such an incredible margin, no one gets close. I love him, he is hilarious, he is intelligent, he's witty, he's just so well rounded. He's had such a journey on this show. He started off as being, what do they call him, the imp? I've been such a nasty little man to start with, and we thought, oh, you're just minging, you're disgusting, you're always sleeping with, as they call it on the show, whores. And you treat them like rubbish, but the more we get to know Tyrion, the more we realise that he's just, I love him. I cannot say no wrong about Tyrion. Tyrion Lannister is my favourite character. Number 2, what episode shocked you the most? Right, I know everyone's going to say the Red Wedding, and aspects of that were shocking. I should say, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, and if you have any intention of ever watching Game of Thrones, don't watch these tags because aspects of the show was given away in there. The Red Wedding didn't really shock me as much as most, purely because the characters that we lost in that episode weren't characters that I was really invested in. People are going to say, how could you not be invested? The pregnant woman being stabbed in the tummy I didn't like that. That was shocking to me. But Game of Thrones generally is such a shocking show. There's so many examples. The episode where Daenerys eats the heart is quite gross. The one where Joffrey dies was awesome. I really enjoyed that scene. Joffrey's just horrid little man, horrid little boy, we should say. I don't know if shocking is the word I would use to describe scenes that really stand out to me. One that probably stands out to me and got to me the most in aspect of story was Hodor. I don't even want to say why, just in case there's someone watching this that hasn't seen all of Game of Thrones and ever intends to. I do not want to spoil that. But that scene with Hodor where we find the reason behind his name, and Bran sees things. I'm trying to be vague, but anyone that watches the show will know what I mean. Just that scene with Hodor and his name and where the name came from. So yeah, that one. I thought that was incredibly well thought out. Number 3, which is your favourite house? I struggle with this. You probably can say I've got the House Stark symbol there. I did put on my t-shirt and my necklace just for the occasion. Could have dressed up. We go every year to Winterfell Festival. I'm lucky enough to live just down the road from where they film most of the scenes in Ireland. Like the coastline and the sort of mountainous country is all just up the road from me. So there's a festival every year called Winterfell Festival, which is set at where the Stark, all the like Castle Stark stuff is filmed. I will insert a little picture for you, or a couple of little pictures for you while I'm talking. So yeah, we do that every year. We'll be doing it this year again, I'm sure. I'm trying to talk Isaac into going dressed as Tyrion, which he always does, and it's dead funny. Right, so, favourite house. I'm gonna have to pick Stark, because Stark stands for what is good. It stands for justice. In saying that, my favourite characters mostly are not the Starks. I do really like Arya. She's one of my favourite characters as well. Not particularly a fan of Sansa. Jon Snow, he's not really a Stark, even though he was brought up as a Stark. He's a bit vanilla for me. He's a little bit, yeah. He needs to stand up to Daenerys. He needs to grow a pair. He really does. I can't say House Lannister because we've got Cersei, who's just the worst of the worst, even though I do like Jaime. I'm going to have to say House Stark purely because of what it stands for, and when we had Sean Bean, my husband cannot say Sean Bean without putting on a Yorkshire accent. Sean Bean, I do. Sorry. And then there's a word that Sean Bean says a lot. It's the B word. I'm not going to say it. What Jon Snow supposedly is in the show. Look up on YouTube, Sean Bean, the B word, and watch how many times they have video footage of Sean Bean saying that word over and over again. My husband loves it. He laps it up. He's a Yorkshireman, by the way. Number 4. Who out of the remaining characters do you wish to die, and why? Right, okay. First off, obviously Cersei, because the woman is just hideous in every sense of the word. I dislike her intensely. The actress that plays her is incredible at evoking that emotion. A lot of the people I really disliked have gone, like Joffrey, Littlefinger, even though he was a bit hot, I have to say. Littlefinger was quite handsome, but he was horrible. Who else? Oh, I'm just going to be here. Oh, what's his name? The one that got... I need to open up a page with all of the Game of Thrones people in it so I can try and remember what they're called, because I'm so bad at... Ramsay Bolton. I hated that guy with a passion. I'm glad he's dead. So top of the list is going to be Cersei. Melisandre, I would like to see her get her comeuppance. Yeah, so those are the main ones. There's probably the Night King, obviously. But yeah, we'll stick with those ones for now. Question 5, I'm sure you're glad to hear. Who do you wish to see sitting on the Iron Throne when it's all over? That's really easy. I'm wearing the t-shirt. Can't see it happening, but my life would be made if Tyrion was sat on that Iron Throne. It just would make me so happy. Obviously now we know that Jon Snow is heir to the throne. It's his throne. It kind of... I like it because, right, I'm going to say something quite controversial now because most people love this character. I don't like Daenerys. I did to start with. When she was with... Jason Momoa, what's his name? Drogo, no, fucking, who's Drogo? Why am I saying Drogo? Well, oh, Khal Drogo, was that right? When she was with him and when she ate the horse's heart and all of that stuff and the Mother of Dragons, I loved her. I thought she was fantastic. When she banded up with the Unsullied, loved her. I loved her sort of ruthlessness of the way she treated the horrible people. But as time has gone on, it seems more to me to be about ego and to be about her power rather than the people. And there was a line that Samuel Tarly says to Jon Snow when he breaks the news as to who Jon Snow actually is, when he tells him who he is. And the line that he says, which is very telling to me, is, you once gave up your crown, as in King of the North, for the people, to help the people. Would she be willing to do the same? Even if you tell Daenerys who you are, and she maybe has to have the bendy knee this time. And if that happens, will she bend the knee to Jon? I think not, because the woman is power crazy, and it's strange because I don't like Sansa either. But she's worked Daenerys out, she's got the eyebrow raised, so it's weird that two characters, I don't know, it's the harshness of the woman. I don't know what it is. I prefer Sansa to Daenerys. I love Arya. I think she's fantastic. She's my favourite character next to Tyrion. the actual question wasn't any of this. The question was, who do you want to see on the throne? I want to see Tyrion on the throne, but I think more likely we're going to see Jon Snow on the throne. A lot of people think we're going to see Daenerys on the throne, or both of them together. I think we're going to see Jon Snow on his own on the throne. I think something's going to happen to Daenerys. Hoping something's going to happen to Daenerys. I want a shock. I want a big fat shocker. As long as they don't touch my Tyrion, I shall be happy. So yeah, I love this show. I would thoroughly recommend any of you that haven't, well, if you haven't watched it, you wouldn't have just sat and watched me, would you? But if you know anyone that hasn't seen this, I was very late to the party, as was my husband with this show. Everyone was talking about it. And we tried a few, my husband probably really liked it. Right, can I be blunt with you folks for a second, to cover children's ears? All I saw was tits, that was it. It was just women with their boobs out everywhere. And people are saying, don't be so prudish, Lisa. I'm not. I can appreciate a nice pair of boobs like the next person. But it was all naked women. And Daenerys, I think, was only meant to be 14 or something, and she was being married off to someone, and she was being presented to them. Look at this, fully nude, I think by her brother. So I think I watched 3 to 4 episodes, and it was just constantly really gorgeous women naked and men fully clothed. In this show, men will actually have their trousers on. The women will, example, episode 1 of the new, and I love this show, don't get me wrong, episode 1 of the new season, we have one of the male characters lying on his back. He's got his shirt off, but he's still got his trousers on. A woman sat on him doing the business, fully nude, with 2 other women at either side of him, fully nude. So if you're a man and you haven't watched this, maybe perhaps you want to now. But I just felt a vast amount of inequality in it. And it's not because I want to see men's bits. I'll be honest, women's bits are much more attractive than men's bits. Maybe that's why there's not naked men. But do you remember all the fuss about Jon Snow's bottom? If I can find that clip, it's going in and it's being inflicted on you now. Jon Snow's bottom was just all it was talked about for weeks, because us women are so starved of these sort of scenes that it's just a big talking point. Meanwhile, women are walking about starkers, and that's fine, and it's all very pretty and nice to look at. I just want a bit of equality. I want some of the men in the similar state to the women, because surely if it's a sex scene, both parties, it's relevant for them both to be nude, but we don't get to see that, and that bothers me. Anyway, what I was saying was, I started watching it and it didn't speak to me at first. I am not a fan of medieval stuff or old-fashioned stuff. It doesn't, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons and all that, so it's just not something that really appeals to me. But everyone, I'm one of these people that I'm thinking, all these people are saying this is fantastic. I have to be wrong. I can't be right if everyone loves this. I'm going to give it another go. Someone I know said, right, watch all of the first season, even if you're not really feeling it. Because I didn't really start to feel it until the end of the season, start season 2. So I promised myself I will watch the entire first season, and I did. And I couldn't put it down. So if you know someone that have watched a few episodes and have given up, tell them to give it 1 season and then make their decision, because that's what I did, and I will admit I was wrong. This program is astounding. Special effects are astounding. Characters are really, like, so many layers to them. The director, the maker, is not frightened of killing off major characters. They're not sentimental about stuff. It's just everything in a program that's amazing. I can't say enough good things. I'd like to see a few more bums on the masculine side, but that's my only complaint. Jon Snow's bottom, please, in the final season. The last hurrah. I want to see Jon Snow's bottom. A full frontal would be better, to be fair, but I will put up with the bottom if that's all we can see. So there we have it. I have done another Game of Thrones tag. I will throw this open to anyone that wants to do it. I'll tell you someone I'd really like to see do this. I'm only going to tag this one person apart from my husband. Rumana, the movie critic. She did a vlog or a video recently, like a recap of season 1. Sorry, of the first episode of the new season, and she's such a big fan. It was such a joy to watch the joy that she had when talking about it. She just loves it, and that sort of like enthusiasm was really infectious to watch in the video. So Rumana, if you're watching this, I will drop you a message and tell you I've tagged you. I'd love to see you do this tag, because I'd really like to hear your answers. So that's it. Thank you to Martin from the Trashed Picture Show for the tag. I apologise for my comments about Daenerys. I know you love her, but there we go. Thank you for listening to me and my Indian ramblings. It's over and out from Lacey Loves.